Hi there, everyone, and welcome to the Homespun Wife. My name is Sherry, and it is so wonderful to see you today. This is a beautiful late August day here in my corner of the world. The heat has finally given way to some pleasant temperatures and very low humidity, and we are loving it. Matter of fact, a couple mornings this week, we have been in the low 50s, and I just stepped outside on the patio and breathed that in because it has been so long since we've seen such pleasantness in the weather. So I hope wherever you are that the weather is nice for you too. It certainly makes me feel better, and it gets me in the mood for fall time. Now, after my last video, I filmed one right behind it for you, but I'm going to insert this one in between those videos just to take this opportunity to thank each one of you for the kindness and sweetness that you have shown to me after the previous video, a chat about my channel. And I had so many comments under the video. I also have received quite a few emails and then messages also through my Facebook page, and I want to respond as best as I can to each one, but it's just almost impossible to do. Matter of fact, it was the very next day before I even got around to reading some of the comments, because we have been in a busy season with different things that we have going on in our lives. So I really didn't have a chance just to sit down and take that in. And when I did, I got teary-eyed because I was like, wow, you know, I should have known. You all are so nice. You always have been kind to me and to one another, and I am so grateful for you that God allowed me to come into contact with you because you encourage me so much. And so I just wanted to convey that to you through this video. And if you don't hear back from me personally, you can know that I've read your comments and I appreciate them, but most importantly, I appreciate you. And I was really blown away by it. So I told Vince, I'm like, I've got to do a video and thank my friends for how kind that they've been and for understanding during those times when I cannot be here, or maybe my content is, you know, a little different, or maybe not that much, that you guys will understand what I'm doing is just trying to continue to connect with you all in some way. And of course, I'm always praying about the things that I share here on my channel, and you know, just showing you things that are going on in my life, things I've picked up, things I'm reading, things I'm thinking. And that's one of the videos that I really wanted to do. And I thought, you know, maybe I could do this like a series. And I had written some stuff down, things that have me thinking. Things that have me thinking. Now, I'm going to try to keep this pleasant, because if you start getting into current events, and if you start getting into anything that's controversial, it's just going to explode. And so we're going to try to keep, even in the comments, as nice as we can to one another about, you know, these things that I'm thinking. So I'm going to share a few today, and then maybe I'll come along in the next few weeks and share some more things off of my list, because I've added to my list since I started this. I actually started it for myself because I had some things on my mind, and I just thought, let me just make a little list of these things. And so in the comments below, you can let me know what you think about what I'm sharing, also what's been on your mind lately, and then I'll come back in future videos and maybe we can chat about this subject again. Things that have me thinking. One of the things that has me thinking is that I feel like, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, that I feel like society has sort of lost its common sense. Like, it just seems like it's gone. The ability to be able to just reason with others, or to see something that would normally make sense to everyone, even if we don't see exactly eye to eye. I don't know, it's just very hard for me to explain. But watching the news and seeing all the things that's going on in social media, all the fights that happen, common sense, we need more of it. Why don't we have it? What is lacking in society that is keeping us from just having like a basic common courtesy, for one thing, and just common sense? I'll give you an example of something that I think is not common sense. At least it isn't to me. I understand the reason behind it, but it doesn't really make sense to me. both of my daughters have multiple children. One of my twin girls has 5 children, and they range from age 14 to age 3. The other has 4 children. They range from age 12 to age 6. And each one of my daughters has a son that is 12 years old, that turned 12 this year. And one of my daughters has already been through this with the 14-year-old. That was June, that I introduced you to in the video. But with the sons that turn 12, they get notified by the doctor's office that according to the laws of North Carolina, the teenager has to set up an app on their phone or connect with the doctor's office so that they can have confidentiality in their medical files, that the child can make their own appointments and receive text directly to and from the doctor, and that the parent has no privilege there. They're not allowed to know about it. Now, this is not for all medical conditions, certainly things that affect your child that's 13 years old. If they're sick with something serious or whatever, the doctors will talk to you. These concern certain areas that are very important to the child's well-being, such as contraceptives, STDs, drug use, alcohol use, and even mental conditions like mental health, depression, anxiety, and other things. The child can have the ability to talk to their doctor without their parents' permission or without their parents' knowledge. And that the communications about those things between the doctor and the teenager, a young teenager, I'm talking 13, can go on without the parent even being aware of it. Does that, is that okay? Is that okay with everyone? Because it's really troubling, especially to one of my daughters whose oldest child is reaching this level. She's like, that's not really fair. We want to have a say. We're still the parents. We want to have a say in these things. If my child is anxious, or my child has a question about something that is related to sexual education, or I want to be involved in that. I feel like that I want to be more hands-on in that area while my child is navigating these difficult days that we're seeing in our society, where everywhere you turn, it's everywhere online, and it's everywhere in society. And and my daughter was saying, I just want to have a say and to know what's going on in that area of my child's life so that I can guide him, Yeah, they're taking away those rights to the knowledge of what your child is talking to their doctor about, starting the age 13, starting on their 13th birthday. That just seems so young to me. I know maybe I'm old school. I do know that children have a lot more knowledge about things than we did when we were young. I know society has changed, but it's not always for the good. And for those parents who are wanting to mitigate all of the things that are being thrown at their child and told to their child through apps and the news and social media and their friends, who want to continue to try to guide their child in a in the narrow way, I might say, in God's way, it's becoming more and more difficult to do. And so I would just, maybe like to know your thoughts. I know I can understand why some of these things would be happening. I think that doctors have said that they're concerned that parents get involved and it would cause kids, 13, 14 years old, to hide things from their doctor that they need to talk to their doctor about because they don't want their parents to find out what they're doing. But, if you're 13 and you don't want your parents to know what you're doing, that's a big red flag already. I know that kids begin to pull away even earlier now, like 10, 11, 12. You can feel kids beginning to pull away, want more freedom and have, more independence. But that's still awfully young. And so to me, it's just not very much common sense in that. You want the parent to be responsible for paying the bills, keeping the insurance on the student and or the child, and making sure the student makes good grades, and you're responsible for making sure they show up to school on time, that they have food, and that they're clothing, and they have all of their needs met. And yet when it comes to these issues, the government takes away your right as a parent to have knowledge. I don't think I like that. So that's one area. I don't know. This is just one thing I'm thinking about now where I feel like common sense has kind of gone by the wayside. And we're seeing more and more of this now with students' rights. We're seeing this with issues related to gender, which I know is a hot topic right now, and I'm only going to touch on it briefly. But a student can go to school and change their clothes and identify as someone else at school, and the parent has no knowledge of that, and the teacher hides it from the parent, and then before the student comes home they change back. And I'm thinking, wait, this doesn't make any sense. We need, as parents, to have some knowledge so we can help guide our child correctly and help them every way that we can. It's tough. It's really tough, the way that society is going right now. So this has me thinking, is this the right way? Are we doing right? Do we even have common sense anymore? I don't know. You tell me what you think about that. Another area that had me thinking, I'll just go ahead and tell you this real quick, is the weather and nature. And that leads into food. Okay. Our weather has been absolutely insane this year. Over the winter, I think 3 different times they called for snow here, and we didn't get any. Okay, which is not that uncommon, but we've had none. Not even really a flurry. Then spring came. By March, everything was blooming like normal, and by the time things got going and got bloomed, and it began to rain, and it rained for weeks every single day. Matter of fact, we had to go outside. The buckets that have holes in them got clogged up with so much dirt, and because the water was so compacted underneath, and we'd have to take our flower buckets and our garden buckets and tip them over and let the water roll out. There was so much water. Plants began to droop. Everything began to sag down. It was just waterlogged. The grass was soaking wet, muddy everywhere. Streams rolling where the little tributaries had risen up, and just everywhere you had water. And then it was like in the 1st of June, it became an oven outside. It was baking. The heat went straight up into the 90s. Now we see 90s here, we do. But this has been one of the hottest summers we've ever had. And it was muggy, like really uncomfortable. You stepped outside, it was like a steam bath. And it's the kind of weather where you think, we're going to get a thunderstorm. We're going to get a thunderstorm. We never got one. We never got thunderstorm for weeks on end. It was like that. It was just extremely hot. And when I say dry, I don't necessarily mean dry air. I mean dry in that we could get no rain then at all. And my hydrangea, I've never seen it like this. It just cooked the flowers on it. I'm just blown away. Like there was nothing I could do. There's no amount of watering would help. It just was really, really tough to help your plants in the ground survive, and also our little garden plants that we had in pots. And then starting in August, which is one of the hottest months of the year, our highs were in the 70s. And we once again had rain, and we had rain every day for a while. And it is just the most unusual weather. We've seen areas of flooding here in North Carolina, just random flooding where cars are floating away and houses are lifted up and floating away. And I don't recall anything like this ever in my past. The weather is so bizarre that it's affecting, to me, the plant life. And we've had a hard time getting things to grow very well where we are. We had a few things grow. Our cucumbers did pretty good. We had them in a good spot, so they did okay. But like I had huge squash blooms but nothing would actually, I think I got like 3 squash. I made 1 or 2 casseroles, I think, and that was it. We could get, a lot of the blooms that came on never materialized, and our plants got soggy, and then they got scorched, and trying to keep them alive was super hard. Even the herbs, just had a tough time making it. We used them, and we had some in that little window of time. But, I was listening recently to another YouTuber that I follow, and he follows even a greater audience of homesteaders and other YouTubers who talk about these things. And they were talking about the fact that it's getting very hard to grow your own food now. Like unless you have a big garden that it's well established. If you're just a person in a home trying to establish a garden, it's really, really hard to grow food. A lot of people have been trying 3 and 4 years, and they cannot really get a sustainable garden to supplement their food intake. Have any of you experienced that, or is it just me, or maybe just a certain number of people that are going through this? It's like the weather has changed, and it's changed our ability to grow food. And not only that, but I feel like the food, when we go out and we eat places, is not that good. It's like it's very rare now to have a really good meal when you go out somewhere. It's tough. Food just does not taste that great. Now, I think I was talking to my parents. My dad said, what the Bible says, when you get older, food doesn't taste that good. And that it could be part of it. You do have that that element of you're getting older, your taste buds changes, everything changes. But I don't think that's as much it, because I was talking to my daughters about this, and they were like, Mom, we took the family out tonight to Mexican or whatever, and it just wasn't any good. And I talked to the other daughter, and she's traveled somewhere, and she's like, we went out to this restaurant, but it was a waste of money. The food it just was not good. The kids wouldn't even eat it, really. And so I just like to know if you do occasionally go out, or even if you buy things from the grocery store, which we do you think that the food is as good as it once was when we were younger? I really don't. And I wonder why. I wonder if it's how we're growing the food, if it's pesticides. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but something about it is changed. And I've been thinking about that. Like, I've had that on my mind. Why is food not the same? Why don't things taste as good as they did? Even the tomatoes, to me, don't taste as good as they did, even 20 years ago. Let me know what you think about that. So let me check this off my list. Okay, we've talked a little bit about common sense. We've talked a little bit about the weather, and we've talked a little bit about the taste of food. There you go. There's a few things we've talked about on my list of things that have me thinking. So let me know what you think about some of the things we talked about today, and try to keep it as nice as you can in the comments, so that, we're not trying to offend anybody. We're just trying to say, hey, does this make sense to anyone else? Because it's not making sense to me. Now, in the video that I've already filmed for you, but you have not seen yet, but you will be seeing, I showed you some things that I had recently purchased. And I mentioned to you in that video, I've not shown you everything because I have things stuffed here and there. Well, I'm going to show you a few of them today that I bought this summer, probably later in the summer when I was out. Bath and Body Works. Bath and Body Works has had a big sale going on, and my daughters were texting me, and I was getting messages on my app about that. And I hardly ever buy things much from there anymore. But they had their soaps on sale. They were fall soaps, and I thought, I'm crazy about those soaps. So I was like, let me go and see if I can find something to use this fall. Now, in the main bathroom, across my hall from our bedroom right here, we have 2 sinks there. And so I always get 2 matching soap dispensers. And then in the ensuite bathroom of our main bedroom, that's where my husband, he uses that bathroom to take showers and things. And so I always try to get him a soap for his bathroom too. So because it's just the 2 of us living here, we can do these things. And so I always have that in mind when I'm going out to buy soaps. And so let me show you the soap that I picked up, and I'm trying to remember what I paid for it. Did any of you guys take advantage of the Bath and Body Works sale that they had? I can't remember. It seems like to me it might have been like $3.99 or $3 or something. But it was a really good deal. Maybe $3. I got these two wonderful soaps. Isn't that a pretty dispenser? And this is Sweet Cinnamon Pumpkin. And I thought these would be so pretty in the bathroom here. I'll put one at each sink, and I will enjoy that all the way to Thanksgiving time. And they did have one there that you could smell in the store, and it was great. So I decided to get those two. And then for my husband's bathroom, I loved this one, Leather Bound Pages. I thought that just kind of looked like a man's bathroom, don't you? And it smells really good too. And I love the fact that here on the design, it's got the books and all the fall flowers there. So I really thought that would go well. Now, what else did I want to show you? Oh, yes. I went to Hamrick's a few days ago, and it's not the one that I usually go to. We were in another city, and they had one. So I ran in there just to see, if there was anything much on sale. I didn't buy too much. And I found something to go on my door this fall that I really like. And yesterday evening, I went outside and I put out my fall flag, and it's the very end of August right now, okay? So I normally don't put this stuff out till September 1, but we were out working in the yard, and I thought I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I have a granddaughter with the birthday coming up, and we have birthday party and birthday cake and all of that. And so that's the 1st of September, and we usually are busy right around in there. And I thought, I'm just going to go ahead and get this done. And so some people will say, well, you're just starting too early. Well, maybe so, but I'm really excited. And I see several of my neighbors in my community that have their fall decor up. So guess what? Their fall decor is up over there. That gives me permission to do it here. And look at this pretty thing for my door that I found. Is that not gorgeous? I love this. It's kind of stuffed. It's kind of like a little pillowy thing. I bought one of these for the summer, and I'm trying to remember if I showed it to you guys. I thought that I did. It was like a bird fountain with some birds on it. That hung outside on my door all summer, and when I took it down yesterday, it looked just like it did when I put it up. Like, it handled the weather beautifully. It did not fade. It didn't get dirty. I was really surprised because I thought this might only last one season for $10. But no, it just looked great. I'm gonna be using it again next year. So here you go. Here is the pretty decoration that will be going there on my door. And now in the next video, you're gonna see a couple of flags that I bought. And the flag that I used is the one with the truck on it. So when you see that next video coming out, I'm gonna show you a couple of flags. I used the one that had the truck, and it said, I think, welcome, across the bottom. And so you will know which one I used out there. And let's see, was there anything? Oh, I know. I wanted to show you, I have pulled out today, I just did, my Ideals Autumn little magazine with the fall scene on it. Look how pretty that is. I love these Ideal magazines. You can still get them. You can look them up on Amazon and like maybe thrift books and places, and find some new copies of the older magazines, because they don't make them for every season like they used to anymore, but you still can get some of the older copies. And then some of these I've had for a long time. But I thought before we go, I would just share with you a pretty poem that I really love from this magazine to get us in the fall spirit, or at least to get us thinking about it. I know we still have Labor Day to go. I know that we still have more things in the summer spirit, and people that love summer are always saying, well, you're just pushing it too fast. I know, but I love it so. And after this very hot and tiring summer, it's awfully nice to have some fall flair to look forward to. Now, here is the pretty scene that goes along with the poem that was written in the beautiful Ideals magazine book, and this is called The Master Painter by Gertrude Rudberg. God took the high green mountains and the quiet valleys too, then painted them with color in shades of every hue. There were reds, browns, and yellows, with orange in between. The firs and lacy hemlocks were touched with shadowed green. Above he tinted cloudlets in dainty pinkish blue against the silver heavens as autumn days were due. Yes, God, who is the artist and paints the world around can bring to us such beauty with brilliance profound. Yes, God is a magnificent artist, and it is wonderful to consider that as we get ready for fall time. Friends, thank you so much for being with me today. It's been a pleasure to see you, and like always, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.